The trial against U.S. journalist Evan Gershkovich has begun behind closed doors in the Russian city of Yekaterinburg. The reporter for the Wall Street Journal is accused of spying for the U.S. and could face up to 20 years in prison if found guilty. He and his employer deny the charges.
After more than a year under arrest, Russia is now putting Evan Gershkovich on trial. The 32-year-old journalist was detained in March 2023 while reporting in the city of Yekaterinburg, according to his employer, the Wall Street Journal. Russian prosecutors allege Gershkovich was collecting secret information from a tank factory for the CIA. Gershkovich denies the charges. So do his family, employer, and the White House, who say he was wrongfully detained.
These espionage charges are ridiculous. The targeting of American citizens by Russian government is unacceptable. We condemn the detention of Mr. Gershkovich in the strongest terms.
Gershkovich is the son of Soviet émigrés and grew up in New Jersey. He moved to Russia in 2017 to work there as a correspondent. The Wall Street Journal hired him in 2022. Gershkovich is the first American journalist to be jailed in Russia on espionage charges since the Soviet era. Despite strained relations, US and Russian officials have indicated that talks are ongoing about releasing Gershkovich in a prisoner swap.
Let him go.
But the US and Russia have not yet reached an agreement. In an interview in February of this year, Vladimir Putin indicated he wants to swap Gershkovich for a Russian hitman sentenced to life imprisonment in Germany for murdering a Chechen dissident in Berlin in 2019. Some experts say the trial could help bring the negotiations forward.
It's a very unfortunate situation all around, but this may be a glimmer of hope in his eventual coming home, because this trial will establish a verdict, and Russian justice needs to see a verdict in a case before I believe that they're willing to do some negotiation for whatever might be the outcome.
But by making the trial secret, Russia is hiding his case away from the public, while for Gershkovich, the uncertainty continues.
That report filed by our correspondent, Grzegorz Szymanowski, who joins me now. Tell us more about why you think this trial is being held behind closed doors.
Well, Claire, this is actually a standard procedure in Russia for cases of alleged espionage or treason, because proceedings are considered a state secret. So the reporters were let in the room just for a few minutes before the trial has started. Now, during the proceedings, no reporters, no friends, family members, or U.S. embassy staff, for that matter, are allowed in the room. And people familiar with such cases are saying that this type of isolation puts additional psychological burden on the accused person, Mr. Gershkovich, in that case.
So tell us a little bit more about the charges against Gershkovich and how long he could potentially be facing prison time.
Yes, Russian prosecutors allege that Gershkovich was gathering information about a defense contractor, a company producing battle tanks for the Russian army called Uralvagonzavod, and that he has done so for the CIA. The Kremlin also says that Gershkovich was caught red-handed, but no evidence was published that could support these allegations. Evan Gershkovich is obviously denying the charges, so does his employer. The Wall Street Journal is calling this a sham trial with fake charges, and is also stressing that Gershkovich was on a reporting trip and that he was accredited by Russia to do journalistic work in the country. Now, the charges that he is facing carry up to 20 years in prison, and we need to remember that acquittals are extremely rare in the Russian judicial system. Only less than 1% of defendants are acquitted in Russia because the judges tend to agree with the prosecution. So this is the outlook for this process.
So is this, as some say, about Russia's effort to strengthen its hand in the event of a possible prisoner exchange by holding Evan Gershkovich?
Yes, this is something the U.S. is accusing Russia of imprisoning U.S. citizens to use them as bargaining chips. There are currently at least a dozen of US citizens in Russian jails. Now, Russia insists that they have broken the law, and this is a high-profile case now, and in the previous high-profile case in 2022, Russia has released an American basketball player, Brittany Griner, in exchange for a Russian arms dealer, Viktor Bout. Now, in this case, it is not clear if the US holds another card that's strong, so to say. Vladimir Putin has clearly indicated that he wants to see a Russian hitman released from a German jail. There are also 2 Russian spies on trial in Slovenia right now, but it is uncertain how willing Germany or Slovenia are to help in this US-Russia dispute. So there is a lot of back-channel diplomacy going on, and experts say that we could see some development in terms of a possible prisoner swap after we have a verdict in this case of Mr. Gershkovich.
Grzegorz, thank you so much for that analysis. That is Grzegorz Szymanowski in Riga.